Hello, Miles Mustangs. It's Carolyn, the art lady, back again with another family art project for this week, or whenever you have time. And we're answering Miss Jackie's challenge of making some art as a family this week. And many of you students from Miles will recognize this project because we've done this before, although I don't think we've done it this year actually. So what we have here are a whole bunch of overlapping circles. And the reason that we're doing overlapping circles is just like our project with the hands and the palm frond, we are symbolizing here that we are all connected through this kind of amazing and challenging time where we're spending so much of our time together at home with our family members. So this project will be one more where you can work together. So let me walk you through what the steps are and what the materials are. And by the way, you do notice that we've got lots of circles, lots of beautiful patterns, and we even have a very inspiring word that you can include. You can include your own words in this project. Okay, so I'm going to see if I can move over, set the camera down so you can see how we do it. So for my demo, I'm going to use a much smaller piece of paper. And what I've done is I've taken a piece of paper that's kind of heavy. This is actually watercolor paper, and I've taped it down to a board. Now, if you've got something you could tape down to, you could even tape to the table. It would be great because it keeps the paper from wrinkling when you're putting the paint on. But if you don't have tape and a board, don't worry. All of these projects are designed for you to do at home with whatever you've got. So I've used watercolor paper. You could use cardstock. You could use a heavy drawing paper. The only paper that doesn't work as well for this project is copy paper because it's awfully thin. But you know, you could do this project using copy paper if you decide to use crayons or maybe colored pencils instead of paint. So in order to get started, what you're going to need is to assemble a bunch of different circles from around your house. So in my case, I've basically gotten one kind of large paper plate and a kind of medium styrofoam plate and a smaller styrofoam plate, and then last but not least, I just am going to use the top of a soup. But you know, you could use plates, you could use cans, you could use whatever you've got at home that is a circle. And what we're going to do is we're going to trace around these different circles a couple of times on the paper. So here we go. I'm going to just put the big one kind of off the paper and make kind of like a half circle. And I might make another big half circle. Notice that the paper is so small that this plate, of course, isn't going to fit on there. So right now I've got 1, 2 kind of half circles. And I'm going to shift to the smaller plate. And I've put the plate face down. And I'm going to make some lines that overlap. So you notice what happened when the circles overlapped. We get some new shapes, which is what we want to have happen. All right, so I'm going to put another shape using a piece of this plate. And maybe I'll put the plate over on the other side. So this is my medium plate. And I'm pushing kind of hard with my pencil so you can see the lines. But you don't have to push this hard with yours. There we go. We've got a lot of beautiful shapes now. I'm going to shift and use the smaller plate. And maybe I'll actually make a whole circle right here. I'm going to go all the way around this plate. There we go. The one thing you want to be careful about when you make your circles, guys, is notice that some of my shapes are getting awfully small. You don't really want to have a shape get any smaller than that because it's going to be really hard to trace around. So let's see, I'm going to do another piece of a circle here. Yep. So you might consider going around each of your circles like 3 or 4 times, just being careful that the shapes that you create don't get too teeny. If they get too teeny, they're going to be really hard to paint. All right, and last but not least, I'm going to use my top, and I'm going to make a shape. Oh, I'm going to do a complete circle over here. Oh, not quite. Not quite a complete circle, kind of close. All right, go around. All right. one, maybe another one. Okay, and maybe one last one over here. All right, so now I have my board. I think one more. One more. I have my board with lots of wonderful shapes. And that's step one. Step two for this project is, wow, how fun is that? Now we get to mix colors to actually paint on here. So, Miles students have been doing a fair amount of color mixing this year with me. And so this won't be any surprise that I'm going to start using some acrylic paint on a little plate. I'm only using two primaries, blue and yellow, and a little bit of white. You could actually do this any way you want, guys. If you have a lot of paint at home and you want to use as many colors as you like, you are welcome to do this any way you like. But for fun, I'm going to now bring my water and my paper towel. And I've got three different sizes of brushes here. I've got kind of a big one, kind of a medium one, and kind of a little one. And you'll see why in just a moment, why we're going to use all three. So before I start, though, I'm going to actually do a little bit of mixing. And here's a cool, fun way to get a whole bunch of different colors that relate to each other and look beautiful together. As a matter of fact, this is the exercise called family of color. And since you're painting together as a family, it might be cool to do it this way. All right, I'm going to get a little bit of water on my brush, and I'm going to take a blob of yellow. I'm going to take a blob of yellow in the middle, and I'm just going to add a little tiny touch of blue. Well, not that tiny. Little tiny touch of blue, which of course blue and yellow make, that's right, makes green. So I'm going to have that be my first color, and I'm going to take this medium brush, and I'm going to just pick a place, and I'm going to start by painting over here with that beautiful medium green. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just keep adding to this little pile of paint to change the color as I go. So I think maybe I'll add a little bit more blue and make it a darker. Ooh, there's a nice kind of grass green color. And I'm going to put that one right next to it. And again, there's no rules with this, guys. You can move around the paper and put the colors wherever you like. I personally love this thing of having the colors relate to each other so that the greens are all kind of next to each other. But this is totally up to you how you want to do this. I need a little bit more paint. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and kind of fill that shape if I can. I'm not sure I've got enough paint. One of the things that's challenging about this project is you got to make enough paint to fill a shape, because sometimes it's hard to go back and remix and get the same color. But it's a great learning, and you know, there are no mistakes in a project like this, guys. If the color gets a little lighter as you go, that's okay. You know, think of yourself as a color scientist, and you're working on mixing your paint and seeing what you got and coming up with colors that you love. So here I've got this beautiful, ooh, I made it a little darker. That's okay. I don't mind that it gets a little darker. Oh, that actually looks cool. Now it looks like a blend, right? All right, and now, just for fun, for this shape, I'm going to add a little white. So notice I'm going back into the same pile. I just keep going back into the same pile, and now I've made it into what we call a pastel. Ooh, very pretty. So now we've got a pastel. You can always put a little bit of water on the brush if you need to. This is acrylic paint. And as I mentioned in the video about the hand project on the palm bark, you can buy this paint at Walmart. Walmart has these paints. The Dollar Tree has some acrylic paint. And if I'm not mistaken, Michael's is still open, so you could even buy just a couple of tubes of paint at Michael's if everybody is excited about this and wants to work with acrylics. So now we've got a little family of color here, guys. A kind of lime green, a grass green, and kind of a pastel green. And the idea is you're going to fill the entire paper with gorgeous colors and paint them all just flat first. And after they dry, you're going to go back in and you're going to do all these beautiful decorations. So the decorations come after the paint is dry. And I could keep going and going here, of course. I really love to paint. I'm sure everybody knows that I'm a person that loves paint. Let's see, I could put this gorgeous blue right next door. So you want to have fun, you want to mix colors. If you're only going to buy a certain number of tubes or jars of paint, here's the colors that I would recommend. Get yourself one red that's kind of a little bit magenta-y, meaning a color that's not fire engine red. It would be a red that looks almost a little purpley. You want to get yourself a blue called phthalo blue. That's T-H-A-L-O. And the reason why I'm recommending that blue and that red is that those particular colors make gorgeous greens and gorgeous purples. If you get a red that looks like a fire engine truck, like really orangey, you're going to have trouble making a nice purple. So if you only get 3 or 4 tubes of paint, I would get a red that's kind of purpley, phthalo blue, maybe cadmium yellow medium, and white. And you don't actually need more than those 4 colors to make almost every color in the rainbow. So as I mentioned, you can use whatever you like, guys. These are just some suggestions. If you're going to go out and buy some paint, consider those colors. So now I've done a little bit more of a color family, which is the blue family. So we've got a darkish blue, a much lighter blue, and now I'm going to do a really dark blue. I hope you have a whole lot of fun doing this project with your family. And what I would love to see you do and encourage you to do is paint the whole thing, whatever gorgeous colors you like, let it dry, and then go back in, put your cool designs and decorations, and it would be really wonderful if you put some super inspiring words. I think of this as another project that you'll look back on years from now and go, wow, we painted that together as a family when we were all at home with the quarantine. So you could put names, or you could put inspiring words like joy and fun and kindness. You can use this project as a springboard and do whatever you like. I hope you have a lot of fun, and boy, I would sure love to see what you do. So please consider when your project is finished. And by the way, I got to tell you guys, this is not a short project. This is a project you might start and then have to put away because you need the kitchen table for something else, and then bring it out later. As a matter of fact, I want to share with you that my family and I, several years ago, 4 years ago now almost, we made a huge one of these at the memorial gathering in honor of my mom, who had passed away. And so we painted probably 4 or 5 different times, and lots of people of different ages, cousins and brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles and all sorts of different family members painted together, and we made a huge one of these beautiful projects in honor of my mom, and it was so wonderful and so meaningful to us. And then later I took pictures and sent pictures of the piece so that everybody in the family could have one. So anyway, I hope you have a lovely, lovely time. Please do share with us what you make, and can't wait to see you next time.